Every September, something magical happens in the Canadian Rockies. For just a few precious weeks, the mountains transform into a sea of gold as the larch trees put on one of nature's most spectacular shows. If you've ever seen those stunning photos of bright golden trees against dramatic mountain backdrops, you're looking at larches, and trust me, they're even more incredible in person. But timing is everything, and there's a lot more to know about larch hiking than just showing up and hoping for the best. Before I tell you everything I love about larches and larch hiking season, I want to tell you about something that can save you hours of planning time. I've put together a comprehensive 4-day Banff larch hiking itinerary that takes all the guesswork out of your fall trip. This mobile friendly itinerary includes my favorite larch hikes in the area, detailed logistics for getting places, and everything else you need to plan the perfect larch hiking adventure. You can grab it at banfftravelplanning.com. Trust me, having a solid plan makes all the difference during larch season. Now, let me start by explaining what makes larch trees so unique, because they're not like any other tree you'll encounter in the Canadian Rockies. Larches are what we call deciduous conifers. Unlike pine, spruce, or fir trees that stay green all year, larches actually drop their needles in the fall. But before they do, those needles turn from green to bright limey green to yellow, then eventually a deep golden yellow before they fall off. For about 2 to 3 weeks, these trees create this almost golden glow against the backdrop of those mountain peaks and the deep blue skies. It's really remarkable to see them on a bright sunny day where it seems as if they're glowing. The thing about larches is they don't make it easy to see them. You'll find them at elevations between 1,800 and 2,400 meters, which means in most cases you can't just drive to see them. You need to hike to reach them. And that is part of what makes the experience so special. Now, of course, there are some type of larches that can be seen lower down, and you'll even see some planted in the towns. And there's some other easy options, which I'll get into. Now, about timing, larch season typically starts around the third week of September, but it can vary year to year. Some years we get incredible color that lasts, and some years a big windstorm or early snowfall will cut the season short. But it's still worth it to catch the larch trees at the start of the change or even at the tail end. So how can you see the larch trees? I mentioned hiking. Let's talk about which ones you shouldn't miss. If you only do one larch hike in Banff, it has to be Larch Valley. This is the most famous larch hike in Alberta, and it's famous for good reason. Starting from Moraine Lake, you'll hike 4.3 kilometers up some switchbacks, gaining 535 meters of elevation. It's a steady climb, but once you reach the actual valley, you're walking through one of the largest and most impressive stands of larch trees. I'll never forget the first time I experienced peak larch season in Larch Valley. You're literally surrounded by golden trees with the 10 peaks towering above you. The whole valley seems to glow, especially when the afternoon sun hits those golden needles. From Larch Valley, you can continue on to the Minnesota Lakes and even push further to Sentinel Pass if you have the energy. The views from the Sentinel Pass looking back over the Golden Valley are absolutely breathtaking. But here's the challenge with Larch Valley. It's getting there. Moraine Lake can no longer be reached by private vehicle. You need to book a shuttle or a tour in advance. You'll want to listen to episode 3 on which Moraine Lake shuttle to take, and I'll also link my post on getting to Moraine Lake and some shuttles that work for hiking in the show notes. The Parks Canada shuttle is your most budget-friendly option at just $8 per adult, but any shuttle times that would allow enough time for hiking to Larch Valley are already sold out. However, you can wait and try for the last-minute departures, which they release 48 hours in advance. Don't stress about this, though, because there are other larch hikes you can do without needing a shuttle. If there's one larch hike that could give Larch Valley a run for its money, it's Healy Pass. And here's the best part. It starts from the Sunshine Village parking lot, which means you don't have to worry about shuttle bookings or getting there at dawn to find parking. The Healy Pass Trail is 18.3 kilometers round trip with 890 meters of elevation gain. Now, I know those numbers might look intimidating, but this hike is actually much easier than the stats suggest. The trail has a very gentle, manageable incline for the first 7.5 kilometers, and the payoff is incredible. Around the 8.5 kilometer mark, you enter this expansive meadow that's just filled with golden larch trees in every direction. I remember stopping in my tracks the first time I saw it and just saying, "Oh, wow," out loud. Dan and I actually debated whether Healy Pass or Larch Valley has more larch trees, and I think it's a close call. The sheer size of the larch forest at Healy Pass is mind-blowing. You can see golden larches stretching for miles all the way up to the alpine zone. And when you reach the actual pass, you get incredible views in all directions, including towards Egypt Lake. Now, the Lake Louise area is really the epicenter for the larch hiking in Banff. Beyond Larch Valley, you've got several other fantastic options. Saddleback Pass is a great alternative if Larch Valley is too crowded or you don't have a shuttle to get to Moraine Lake. It's a 7.4-kilometer round-trip hike that starts right from the shoreline of Lake Louise, which is really one of the most beautiful trailheads in the world. You'll walk through a dense forest of golden larches, and the crowds tend to be more manageable than Larch Valley. Another of my favorite larch hikes is Taylor Lake. It's a longer hike at 16 kilometers round trip, but not only do you get to see golden larches reflecting in a beautiful mountain lake, if you continue up to the meadow behind the lake, you'll enter this magical larch forest with a mountain stream running through it. Taylor Lake also has a nice large parking lot. Now, I understand not everyone wants to tackle a challenging hike, and I totally get it. There are still some ways to experience larches without a major trek. For those willing to drive a bit, the Highwood Pass area in Kananaskis has some fantastic options. Ptarmigan Cirque is only 3.6 kilometers round trip and is perfect for families. You start at over 2,000 meters elevation, so you don't have to climb much to reach the larches. Nearby, Arethusa Cirque is also pretty incredible for larches. Just know that these, like many others, get very busy. I'll also include my full list of the best larch hikes in the show notes, so you can find some other options if you've already done these ones. Now let me give you some practical advice that can make or break your larch hiking experience. If you've never experienced larch hiking season, it's key that you know locals get a little crazy for it. So, like many other things in Banff, you want to start early. For places that have smaller parking lots, you'll want to be there early for sure. Or better yet, go on a weekday if possible. Second, dress appropriately. Peak larch season is around late September and the mountain weather can be unpredictable. You'll see many pictures of us with toques and mitts on during our larch hikes. There may even be snow on the ground. Now, don't let this deter you. It's worth it. Just make sure you're prepared. Pack layers, bring a warm jacket, gloves, and a toque, and do this even if the forecast looks mild. Third, have a backup plan. You may find a full parking lot or trail closures can happen, especially during larch season when bear activity is high. Larch season is truly one of the most magical times, or at least one of my most favorite times in the Canadian Rockies, but it requires some planning and flexibility to experience it properly. Whether you're hiking through the famous golden groves of Larch Valley or discovering the vast larch forests of Healy Pass, these few weeks in September offer some spectacular hiking. If you want to take the stress out of planning your larch hiking adventure, definitely check out my 4-day Banff Larch hiking itinerary, which I'll link to in the show notes. It includes detailed trail descriptions, logistics for getting to the trailheads, timing, and backup plans for when things don't go as expected. Trust me, once you've hiked through a forest of golden larches with the Canadian Rockies soaring around you, you'll understand why us locals go crazy for larch season. Now on to our listener question. What can I do in Banff if I'm not a hiker? I know not everyone is up for big hikes, which may have you wondering what to do in September during larch season. One thing to note is that you can still see larches glowing on the mountainsides as you drive in the Lake Louise area. So while you may not get up close and personal with them, you'll still be able to appreciate that change of color. Of course, you'll see other trees at lower elevations in the towns showing off their fantastic fall colors around the same time. As for other activities in Banff for non-hikers, there really are so many. Scenic drives, easy but still beautiful walks, the hot springs, though currently closed until December for this year. Head to the spa, there's museums, the gondolas, more adventurous activities like canyoning or whitewater rafting, horseback riding, even wagon rides, canoeing, or even just enjoying the many scenic spots. Boat cruises, river float, there's plenty of things that don't involve hiking. And I'm going to share my full guide to activities for non-hikers in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Banff Travel Podcast. If you got value from this episode, do me a favor. Make sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss the next one. It's free, it helps the show, and it keeps you in the loop. Until next time, happy trip planning, and I'll see you out on the trails.